guys, I'm Brenda Jones and I'm here with Kes, and I asked him to do a podcast, but in all honesty, I'm going to have him interview me because I'm not good at doing the interviewing, but I love what he's doing with coaching, and I really wanted to dig deeper into that and have him kind of unlock me and share some vulnerable, parts of me. So
first of all, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. And we were joking about it outside,
Yes.
which I think it's actually fun because I love doing this. I love asking questions, getting to know more about people and their origin story, and not necessarily from the success and all the great things they've achieved,
right,
but the things they had to overcome to achieve the things that they've achieved thus far and what's keeping them back from going further.
Yes.
Right. And so I know absolutely nothing about your history, which I wanted to keep it that way until we spoke.
Right.
So catch me up. Tell me a little bit about some of the things that you've been through. And it always kind of starts from childhood.
Always. So I'm Filipino. I'm first gen. My parents born in Philippines. I'm born in Chicago. And, we grew up, I don't know exactly, lower middle class. So we weren't poor, but we didn't own a house ever. We always moved from apartment to apartment. We moved around a lot because every time they raised the rent, we had to move. Both my parents worked, so I was a latchkey kid. So I think the earliest me and my sister were both living at home I was in third grade and she was in kindergarten. So, it's not like that anymore, right? These days you can't do that. I think you go to jail or whatever. But, parents were living paycheck to paycheck, and it was hard, And then my parents fought all the time.
How do you think that affected you?
Well,
Yeah.
so I started going to therapy in 2013.
Okay.
I had gotten out of a 5-year relationship and I was engaged. And all my relationships prior to that were always around 4 to 5 years. And so after that, and I only had, I think maybe 4 boyfriends. So I was 30 years old at the time, maybe 32. I finally realized hey, the common denominator is Brenda here. I need to fix myself. So I started going to therapy. And through my therapy, I realized I don't have daddy issues. I have mommy issues. And, and this is going to be hard for me to share, but my parents fought all the time. My mom was, verbally and emotionally abusive. And, it really did affect a lot of things in my life. So
how have you seen it affect things in your life up until that point? So you have this point of realization where you're like, holy crap, Brenda's the common denominator. Yeah. You start fixing it. And you're reflecting and you're seeing that the things that I seen mom do, what did you do that emulated mom?
I have an anger issue that I've, continued to try to manage. And recently I was on medication for it, and I recently got off of it because I feel like I've gained the tools to try to manage it. It doesn't go away, right? But anger was a big thing, having a small fuse. Seeing red was kind of the thing we said in the family, where we would yell and scream at each other and say say nasty things. And then the next day, it was like nothing ever happened. And so I know I do that, and I try not to do that anymore. I feel like I haven't done that recently. But when I first started dating my now husband, I would fight with him. And my main defense mechanism is words, and using really nasty words and verbally attacking. And we'd fight, and I'd say things to him, and then we'd wake up the next day and I'd be all happy and giddy and all over him, and he'd look at me like, you're a psycho. You can't say those things to me, and it's not okay. So those were things that were popping up. I was like, but this is all I knew my whole life is I did this. I continue to have to work on myself and learn to try to catch it, or if I already did it, to take a step back and obviously learn how to apologize. There was no apologies in my upbringing. So yeah, there's a lot.
Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
What do you think anger is? What's your perspective on anger?
Anger is my outlet of being hurt. I'm hurt inside. I feel out of control. And so I revert to that to kind of gain some kind of control.
To recapture control.
Yeah, you know, I guess maybe show some dominance or something. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm psychoanalyzing myself. I have no idea.
So if you feel like you're losing control, this is your way to regain control, dominate, keep everything.
Right.
What do you sometimes feel? I don't know. Think back to a time that you got angry over something. What do you feel like you're losing? And I know it's control, but what does not having control do to you or make you feel?
I feel weak. For a long time, I tried not to show, tried not to feel is being weak.
What is being weak?
Well, I'll tell you how I used to look at it. And obviously it's a work in progress, but crying was being weak to me. Not winning an argument, obviously. Not getting my way is being weak. Yeah, those are some examples.
Do you still feel like that?
Sometimes, if I'm being honest. I think I'm more evolved in my emotions, but I'm human, right? So I think the last 5 years, not so much, because I've been going through therapy. I'm in an amazing marriage. You know, I have my son. But if I talk about myself in the past, no.
How do you show up at work?
I show up at work as a tough girl who doesn't take shit.
In your situation, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like if it is this person gets over, that's you being weak?
What do you mean?
Because sometimes it's not really them getting over. Sometimes it's you being a leader and allowing somebody to go through a process. And although you know that you're right, you're allowing them to touch the stove, get burned.
Right.
And then it's like you teach by example and just kind of allowing things to go through.
Right.
How do you see that? And is your dominance... does it stop you from allowing somebody to go through their process because you gotta listen to me? Just listen now.
Yes. For a long time.
Yeah.
Yes. For a long time, I was like that. I'm not going to say I'm 100% not doing that.
Sure.
But yeah, I would like maybe get mad at my husband, right? And get mad at him for something. And the things he said to me is like, you didn't even give me a chance to fail at it. Like you're already yelling at me for whatever it is. And I can't think of the thing, but that's exactly the same thing. It's like, I want to make sure that it's done right my way, that I'm going to like yell at you or like force you to do it my way. So obviously that's not good and healthy.
Yeah.
But yes, I did that for a long time.
What's making you think about changing that? If that's what you've done for a long time, what's that desire to change?
It was my therapy. It was honestly realizing the root of it. And a lot, my husband saying to me, like, you can't talk to me like that, right? You can't talk to me like that. You can't treat me like that. And then realizing like, oh my God, like how I grew up is not okay, right? Like you can't treat people you love that way. So I wanted to make a change. Being angry doesn't feel good, right? So, and how else are you going to do it if you don't look inwards?
Yeah.
You know, you can't change me. My husband can't change me, you know, so.
Do you think anger is a habit?
I would say it was, but I have tools now, right? I have tools now. I didn't have those tools before.
What's some of those tools?
Perspective is one that I actually use all the time. So I used to get so frustrated very easily about dumb stuff, right? And like I have a toddler and trying to get him to school on time really frustrates me because I'm an activator and I love to be on time. And my kid wants to obviously do everything else but get ready for school. So I sit down, take a deep breath, and I'm like, he's going to be late to daycare. Like, what are you freaking out about? You know?
Yeah.
So I'm giving myself perspective. And then the other perspective is like, he's only going to be 3.5 for one day, right? Because he's going to get older tomorrow. So I have to constantly remind myself because I'm very results oriented and like, I want to get shit done quickly. I'm a maximizer. But like, especially with my son, I try to scale back as much as I can because I've already noticed like he's not this little bundle of joy anymore. Like he grew up so fast. He's 3.5 negotiating with me. What the heck? I can't imagine imagine a 14-year-old, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. So, yeah.
I think your journey is really interesting because to have the strength to actually start reflecting
Yeah.
and identify, oh my gosh, this is where the origin of this thing that I'm now doing comes from.
Right.
And so what is your relationship with mom now? Because you now kind of know the origin.
Right.
And so what does your relationship with her look like?
So I actually forgave her a while ago. We used to fight all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And she's getting old, right? She's, I think, 70 now. I actually have been financially supporting her since 2018.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I would have been able to do that if I didn't forgive her.
Mm.
She obviously has gone through some shit in her life, which caused her to be the way she is.
Sure.
But I also realized that she's going to die one day. So what is it going to help for me to continuously be angry at her, right? If we only have a few days, minutes left together.
Yeah.
So it was very freeing to forgive her.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It reminds me of when my dad and when I wanted to become a better man, I realized that I needed to start going to be coached, and I started going to seminars, and I'm like, what is this? How can I be a better man?
Right.
At this point, I'd already been through a divorce, and I'd had my ring given back to me. I was engaged to be married, and she gave me back my ring.
Yeah.
And so I was just on this mission. And while I started going to these sessions, I started to get really mad at my dad.
Yeah.
Because the things that I was learning as to how to be a husband, and my parents have been married now. They're still together for 30 something years, for a long time, right? But I started to get mad at him because I'm like, I'm the way that I am because of you.
Right.
And one day my sister pulled me aside and said, hey, you do realize that you're the one that's taking the extra steps to learn he's not there.
Right.
And I've lived now to see, once I forgave him and kind of moved on.
Right.
Now he's doing things for my mom, and he says that I inspire him.
That's awesome.
Your story in forgiving
Right.
really reminds me of that, because it's only now you can inspire them in their age now to see a different way.
Right.
How do you see yourself? Not that you want her to change. You've already forgiven her.
Yeah.
Do you see your actions having influence on her?
Unfortunately not.
Okay.
Yeah, she's stuck in her ways. I actually haven't seen her in over a year. And I still continue to support her.
Is she in the U.S. or in Philippines?
She's here.
Okay.
She's in L.A. I live in Orange County. We're only like an hour away from each other. But, it is what it is. And to be honest, I did have pent up anger again for her. And my therapist was like, you need to just let it out. And so I eventually did. And it made me feel good, right? You need to release these negative emotions from your body, right?
Yeah.
It really does cripple you if you hold it in. But nothing changed, right? When I gave her a call and I dumped all my feelings out. But it was fine because I had the release. Because in all honesty, I knew nothing was going to change, but I had to let it out.
Yeah.
I love my mom. And, one of the reasons why, I'm on this real estate journey is, I want to make more money so I can buy a big house and move her in with me. But, I'm not at that stage yet, you know? So, but until then, I'll take care of her, she's my blood. I love her.
What did you expect her to, you said that you expected her to kind of be the way that she was when you dumped. What did you desire?
I desired her to show some type of emotion of she missed me and she wanted to spend time with my son, and she didn't give that to me. So it was very hurtful.
How do you feel about it now?
It hurts. Yeah, it hurts. But also it's I can't change her, right? I can communicate with her, but if she doesn't want to change, what else can I do, right? I'm not going to get mad because that's a waste of energy.
Yeah.
I mean, I made a decision about a year ago to cut out all negativity in my life. If you're not bringing me some type of positive or some joy in my life, I can't have space. I'm on this journey to become someone really great, and I don't have room for that. So
yeah. Do you believe love conquers all?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes and no. You can obviously love someone, right, but not be in love. if you love someone and you're not happy, right? Like that's not fair to both parties. And relationships are work, right? So, and it's reciprocal. So if there's only one person giving, the other person's getting regretful, right? Or is it regret? Resentful. Resentful. Yeah. So no, I don't think so. It has to be a combination of other things.
Are you religious?
I'm not.
Not religious?
I'm Catholic, but I'm not. I'm spiritual. I believe.
Cool.
Yeah, I believe.
When it comes to love, I believe that there's light and there's darkness, right?
Right.
And with a certain amount of light, darkness cannot survive. And I really believe that's the truth, even when it comes to relationships.
Yeah.
Because I think that once we know and understand that happiness comes from within and from nobody else, that it's our job and duty to spread our happiness and not let other people affect what happens internally, but we could help have influence on how they feel about their lives.
Right. I agree.
And so do you think that there are things that you could do that chips away in spreading some of that love that you have and happiness to her that isn't necessarily a like, we got to hug and we got to see each other every single day, but it's just this thing that's just thinking about you.
Yeah.
Text or quick call or something.
Yeah.
Because if we were to take it like sellers, we're both in real estate.
Right.
And we understand that person's pain and we're able to speak to their pain, then we're able to have this level of influence on them.
Right.
What I've found is that most people, when it comes to their family members or people that they know, it's easier to cut them off than we would a seller. We'd follow up with a seller.
Right.
We never follow up with our family.
True.
And so do you think that if you followed up and you just deposited some of that love, things could change?
I think so. Yeah. I definitely should improve in that. Absolutely. I mean, sending a text is not hard, right? We have like a shared iPhone album, and I used to constantly like upload photos of my son so she would see what he was doing. But then I got angry and resentful, and I was like, well, I'm not going to share anymore. So yeah, absolutely. I actually should do that, and I will.
Are you okay doing that without a fixed outcome or like?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, because I think a few days ago I sent her a video of Axel doing something cute or funny, or he was speaking and being smart. So I do it sometimes. I'm not doing it consistently. But yeah, I should probably just maybe go visit her, right? I'm obviously harboring some negative emotions about it still, but yeah, I mean, again.
I think it's important to do it without having this outcome.
Right, expectation. Right.
Because it helps with disappointment.
Right.
And I would frame the expectation as in one day.
Right.
Doesn't have to be today.
Right.
But one day.
Right.
Right. And so shifting from that a little bit, we talked about your husband before. How has he been in terms of supporting you in this journey? And I know asking him this question would be different than you answering this, but how do you think he's been in this journey?
He's been very supportive. And funny enough, he actually was on FaceTime with my partner yesterday, and they were talking to each other, kind of, building their relationship. But he was telling him that how much he was proud of me and that he's not surprised, but he is surprised of like how far I've come. Like he knows obviously I'm smart and driven and all that good stuff, but like he's very proud. So I'm very lucky that he supports me. I'm obviously traveling and, he works full time, but he's still taking care of our son as well. So yeah, he's amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And when it comes to, so he's supporting you as in all aspects, right? And when it comes to how y'all work together, what was that journey like, going from being that previous version, working through the anger stuff, to even where you guys are today?
We fought a lot, I'll be honest. Yeah, we fought a lot. I used to, I don't want to say drink a lot, but I was a drinker before. But ever since I had a baby and I breastfed for almost 2 years, you can't drink.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't drink that much anymore. So I think that has obviously made a more positive impact. And then, like I mentioned to you before, I got on some mood stabilizers, which again, you can't drink on stuff like that. So I had made many changes in my lifestyle
Mm-hmm.
that probably were contributing to the fights, right? Like if you're intoxicated, your emotions are heightened. So if you're angry, you're more angry, right? So yeah, I mean, it's gotten better. Yeah, we're in a great place.
You know, when it comes to liquor, I have a thought and a concept when it comes to liquor, right?
Yeah.
And for me to kind of get to the exact thought, I got to kind of talk through, like one of our mentors say, it's like the runway to takeoff type of thing, right? So the mind, if we were to think of it as a circle with separated with a line in the middle,
Right.
you have the conscious mind, you have the subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
And 95% of the things that control us is controlled by the subconscious mind.
Okay.
So we blink our eyes at least 16 times in 1 minute.
Yeah.
Subconsciously.
Right.
Nobody thinks like, I'm going to blink now.
Right.
I'm going to blink now,
Yeah.
right? When we drive, we don't think about
Right.
pressing the accelerator or the brake or anything like that.
Right.
All done subconsciously. And so 95% of our lives done subconsciously, everything that we do every day. And so in our subconscious also exists our self-image, right? So how we see ourselves, that lives within our subconscious.
Okay.
Our emotions also live in our subconscious mind. And so why is all of this important? Because in our thinking mind, we think that we're controlling the things that we do, but our subconscious is the thing that actually makes us act and do things.
Got it.
So we try to change how we think when we're supposed to try to change what's in our subconscious to do something different.
How do you do that?
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, how do you do that?
Right.
But before I get to doing that,
Yeah.
I brought this up because you talked about when you drink, you kind of, it's heightened, how you
Right.
feel heightens.
Right.
What I believe is when you drink, your conscious mind goes to sleep. And so now everything that you feel that lives in your subconscious is now just clear range. I'm going to say whatever.
Right.
Because that's what you consciously don't say it because you could hold it back.
Got it.
But when you're intoxicated,
Right.
that conscious mind is gone.
Right.
And now I'm just going to say whatever that lives within that self-image, within that
Right.
place.
Right.
So it's a very strange place to be,
Yeah.
but it's also, when you understand the concept, it's also how you reprogram yourself.
Teach me.
And so it's literally how you reprogram yourself. You reprogram yourself in different ways.
I love it.
One of them, a very strong way to start reprogramming your subconscious, is by visualization.
Yes, I believe in that. 100%.
And tell me, what's your process of visualization?
So I have on my phone under the reminders tab 3 affirmations that pop up like every 5 minutes from like 7:05, 7:10 that I read and then I write out and then I say, right? And I don't know where I learned that from, but they said you have to read, write, and say, right? So I try to do that every morning as one of my goals, like visualizing. Like I was at Fund Launch a couple weeks ago and there was a lady, Vina Jetty, she was speaking and I was visualizing like either that's me or I'm next to her, you know? I did a vision board with our OCJV group last year where you cut out stuff from magazines and paste it on a poster board. But I had put like pictures of things I wanted to achieve, places I wanted to go, quotes that like I wanted my life to have some type of meaning for. But I try to do a lot of visualization. I really do. I really believe it. Because what do they say? Like your subconscious doesn't know the difference.
Nope.
Right?
Doesn't know the difference.
So if you see yourself as a wealthy, intelligent, whatever the heck you want, like it believes it.
Yep.
So then it will do it. It will do it, or what happens?
You start acting
You
like
start
it.
acting like it. Okay, there you go.
Because if your subconscious, again, doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined,
Right.
and then it is what controls your actions.
Right.
And the piece that I believe most people that go through like just kind of doing the vision boards and all of those things are true. I believe the last piece that's missing is actually having the feeling of the wish fulfilled.
Yes, I remember hearing that. Yes.
That
So you have to
feeling
like
piece.
sit in it, right? Got it.
When you sit in it,
Yeah.
because your subconscious is where your emotions are.
Right.
And so if you could rewire new emotions to that feeling,
Right.
then it pushes down the action because you're happy. And so
Got
like
it.
if somebody is happy, they do things
Right.
that makes them happy.
Right.
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 If somebody's angry, then they procrastinate. They don't do anything. It just kind of keeps them from doing happy things.
Right.
And this whole law of attraction thing, people are attracted by people who they like.
Right.
And so if you have a fun energy, people will say, man, there's something about you. Right.
Right.
And that's something about you is because you're in that vibration, you're
Right.
in that that emotion
Right.
that gives that off. And so for visualization, I would add sit in it and feel the emotion of the thing that you've written.
Right.
And what does it feel like to be there?
Right. So I have a comment that something I realized, or it popped in my mind, I don't know, a few weeks ago. When I was younger, I used to love to journal, but I only journaled about all the bad things in my life. And then I would read about it again. And so when I started learning about visualization and opening your mind and all that mindset stuff, I was like, well, no wonder my life was so shitty. I was sitting there writing about shitty stuff and reading about it. And now you said feeling about it.
Yep.
And that's probably why my life didn't change.
Because you just kept recreating it.
Yeah. And so now, like with the affirmations, I'm reading, writing, feeling positive things, happy things.
100%.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Exactly.
But when you look at it like in retrospect, right? Like, oh my gosh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It totally makes sense.
You recreate your life every single time. And,
Right.
and so people live in this cycle. And especially like people that's trying to get out of debt or get out of their current situation,
Right.
they have what they call reality. They have reality. Reality controls their thoughts. Then their thoughts control their mood and emotions.
Right.
Their emotions controls their actions.
Right.
Their actions give them the same result of reality. And so they're stuck in this cycle
Right.
that they can't break.
Right.
And it takes putting perspective on reality.
Yep.
Because everything is, and we give it
Like
positive
meaning.
or negative meaning.
Right.
Right. And so if we're able to change the meaning that we have on reality, and I keep putting air quotes on reality because is it real?
So that's the thing. Another cool thing I learned, right?
Yeah.
It's called string theory, right? So everything you think you're seeing in your mind, they're just electrical impulses. And it's what your brain translates it to be,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So I see you, but you could actually be an elephant or a tree. I don't know, but my brain is calculating it as you.
Yep.
So
100%.
what is reality?
100. It's your reality.
It's my reality. Exactly. It's not your reality. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And man, this is so good.
Yeah.
So because the impulses
Yep.
that we see,
Right.
our eyes interpret what our brain knows.
Right. There you go. Yep.
And so if our brain don't have the information, then it says, I don't know what that is.
Right.
And so reality, we could change it to whatever we want it to be,
Right.
especially when it comes to the future. Because if it is that the brain is it's a storage unit, it's like a hard drive, right? But our future doesn't exist yet.
Right.
And so being able to visualize it and connect the emotion to something that doesn't exist, but the emotion already exists within us,
Right.
that's the key.
Yeah.
That's the key to transforming anything. So even when it comes to anger, right? Going back to this emotion of anger. And the reason why I believe it's a habit is because you could change the habit,
Right.
because the same exact situation, if we're able to visualize it and have a different response
Right.
in visualizing
Right.
first before the actual thing happens,
Right.
you would have a different response in actuality.
That makes sense. Is that, they call it conditioning also?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you're conditioning yourself to have a different response.
Right. Right.
Which
Because it's my choice.
Because it's your choice.
Right.
And by you having that choice, you could either choose to do it or not.
Right. Choose to be mad or not.
Choose to be mad or not,
Right.
choose to do it or not,
Right.
choose how you want to react.
Right.
This week I had a situation, my wife and I, where how I responded in the past,
Yeah.
I had a choice to do and repeat what I've always done,
Yep.
or to do something else. And all I needed to do was to survive the day. That was it. I knew once I went to bed and woke up that I'll renew. And I tried to do all types of stuff throughout the day. All I needed to do is to not speak.
Right.
And say the things that I knew that I wanted to say.
Right.
And I was able to survive the day
There you go.
without doing it. And I was so proud.
Yeah.
I was happy. And now I have a different response to that problem.
Right.
And we talked about it and everything. And so we were able to kind of flush through. And I think this is really big. Does your husband know your journey? And how do you ask him for support and what that looks like?
He knows my journey. Yeah. I mean, I think he knows most of it.
Mhm.
I mean, there's honestly a lot.
Yeah.
So, but he knows that because he had a total different upbringing, right? So he doesn't support me in the sense of like, oh, I know what that feels like, or oh, I know whatever, but he listens to me.
Mm-hmm.
He holds me and then just reminds me of like our relationship and my son's relationship. That's the best way he does and can, because to be honest, I don't expect anyone in my circle to understand what I've gone through because it's pretty shitty. But I do appreciate the support and like acknowledgement that like I've been able to pull myself out of it, right? And I continue to not repeat the past.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm not perfect, but I definitely do not want my son to live that life.
So what's next in terms of like, you're here, you've come from here. Who do you see yourself being from an emotional standpoint? Yeah. What does that version, the ideal version, look like for you?
Yeah, so I'm working on, and kind of the intention of this podcast is I want to be able to talk about my story and not have a visceral reaction. I don't know if that's really ever possible, but I feel like, because I don't like talking about it. Mm-hmm. It's very painful. And again, like nobody understands. I get these weird looks and then that makes me feel weird. But I feel like it's like I was saying, getting it out, right? If I can get it out and I can talk about it without like, just having that angst inside, I think I'm going to be more emotionally strong and just able to hopefully share and like inspire someone who's gone through anything remotely similar, right? Mm-hmm. Like everyone has their own past and shit, but I want to be able to let it out and not have to just have that feeling anymore.
Yeah.
Right? I want it to be a story versus just this constant pain trying to get out of my body, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's definitely possible.
Okay.
I've been divorced, was at the lowest point in time of my life when I got divorced. And now I use that to make me the best husband in the world.
Right.
I use what happened to now inspire others with the relationship that I have with my wife.
Right.
And so I enjoy talking about all of the crap that I did and how I've transformed because I reposition how I think about that divorce.
Right.
I would have never been the person that I am today had I not gone through that.
Right.
And now I use it for good. I use it to inspire others. And so I love sharing my story because I want men to know that it's possible to change from how I was.
Right.
For you, it's going to be able to, once you're able to inspire others, like you said, that's the desire. And I think once you share it, your vulnerability wouldn't be a weakness. It's actually a strength.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
It's a strength. And I just want to encourage you.
I'm going to do it. But like my body right now is like so tense and like tears trying not to fall out, the struggle of trying not to show weakness was like my whole life. And I'm understanding that like that's just being human, right? And it's okay. It's okay to cry.
Yeah.
It's okay to feel. You don't need to numb yourself, But yeah, I'm working towards that.
I actually really enjoy crying now.
Really?
Yeah. And
I mean, it really does feel good afterwards. It's
it
like
does.
a big purge.
Oh my gosh.
I just don't like the act of it.
Yeah.
You like the act of it?
I embrace it.
Okay.
I embrace it.
Reframe.
Yeah, I just embrace it. And there's so many times when I share certain stories or I'm just super grateful and tears will just start to flow.
Right.
Matter of fact, every single day that I visualize, I cry.
That's amazing.
Every single day. Because the joy
Right.
of feeling the desire of the wish fulfilled happening
Right.
in that moment, it just makes me so happy.
Okay. I'm going to work on that. And when that happens, I'm going to send you a text.
Please do. Because it's fulfilling.
Right.
It's really fulfilling.
Right.
And being able to share something without the emotion attached to it
Right.
becomes wisdom.
Right.
And that wisdom is what other people you'd inspire them.
Right.
They would pay you thousands of dollars for you to coach them through how you did it, your journey.
Right.
And so even right now, as you go through this journey, document the process, document the things that you're doing, implementing the strategies,
Right.
because somebody else has gone through exactly what you've gone through.
Right.
And it's not until you share your story
Right.
would somebody know that it's possible for them.
Yeah. I didn't realize, I thought like going through therapy, I was fixing myself, but I was honestly just probably compartmentalizing everything because every time I say any part of my story, it's very painful. So I clearly have not worked through the pain yet.
It's progress.
Right. It's definitely progress.
It's progress.
Yeah.
But keep working.
Absolutely.
Keep doing it. Keep talking about it.
Right.
Because how many people do you look up to that has not shared a story that you've connected with and you're like, holy crap, they've been through some stuff.
Right.
It's almost everyone.
Everyone, right? Yeah. Yeah. Because how can you admire someone that just had an easy life?
Exactly.
And it fell on their lap, right? Like,
Exactly.
yeah.
And so somebody's waiting to look up to you.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Oh my gosh. Okay. That's
Yeah.
a good perspective. I appreciate that.
So that's what got me doing it.
Yeah.
And now I can't wait to share all my dirt.
Right. Oh my gosh. I wouldn't like a year ago. Actually, I was asked to be on a podcast a year ago or maybe like 8 months ago. And it was about something like this. And I was like, hell no. I'm not telling the world my shit. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad that you let me and pulled this out of me. So
Amazing.
yeah.
This was awesome.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much.
No
And
problem.
hopefully everyone watching is feeling emotions and getting inspired. But I definitely want to do this again.
Let's do it.
Okay, cool.
I love
All
it.
right. But then let's talk about you real quick. How
Okay.
can people find you?
The best way to find me is Keston Purpose and on Instagram.
Perfect.
Send me a message on Instagram. I mean, I coach people through different journeys, different parts of their journey. My mission is to help corporate employees to become something more, whether it's a real estate investor, entrepreneur. It's just knowing that there's a different world out there and helping them discover their purpose. I'm all about purpose because everyone has a seed inside of them. And that seed it gotta flourish. It gotta bloom. And so many people go to the grave, dying without trying.
Right.
And so being a corporate employee, you're stuck in a cycle and you never try to discover what's on the inside. Because you're scared.
Yeah.
You got to make money. You got to make ends meet. And so you never explore this whole, why am I actually here?
Right.
And so if I could help them financially by just kind of helping them with their mindset, they pursue something where they have the freedom to now discover who they are.
Right.
That's what fires me up.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's what fires me up. So anyone who wants to discover their purpose, wants to really understand with the habits, because I'm very habit-driven person too. This isn't just going to be the yo-yo type of stuff.
Right.
I do love that stuff with mindset, but I'm very action implementation based. You got to do it. You can't come just lay on my couch. You gotta
Right.
do the work.
I love it.
So I'm very implementation based. So that's where most of my clients, they get both sides and then they implement. So if that's you, I'd love to help you.
That's perfect. Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you.
Amazing.